well, at the close of business today. But the Debt Management Office, let's see how fixed income space now away for a bit of equities. Debt Management Office in Nigeria has launched its Series 3 50 billion naira green bond. That was yesterday, Monday, the largest yet. The federal government kicked off its green bond journey in 2017 and again in 2019. Now with the Series 3, now 2 times the size of the previous issues. But we're going to have Caleb Alimi, Chief Dealer, Providence Bank, joining us to unpack the implications of this. Caleb, good afternoon. It's good to have you on the show.
It's good to be here, Will. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Okay, so Caleb, can you tell us why right now the government is intensifying its green push? What does it tell us about government priorities?
Well, I wouldn't say they intensified the green push. What I would say is they're executing a budget that has been agreed last year. This green bond issuance was actually approved sometime last year and it's just being executed now. So I wouldn't say they're intensifying the push for it. I'll just say that they're, following through something that had been planned and had been approved a while ago.
Okay, so you were at the launch yesterday, so you got first-hand information, you saw it for yourself. How does this time in look at the countries, the realities, the economic realities we are in now? How does it reflect our current economic reality? Debt is mounting. This timing to launch this series now, is this the right time for it?
Well, again, is it the right time for it is another interesting question. What I can say is the projects that they're targeting are projects that lead to sustainable planets. The government of Nigeria is, part of an accord that looks at protecting the entire planet. The part of the points that were made yesterday was that we're borrowing from the future, and we need to ensure that that future is available for even our children's children. As a matter of fact, aside the fact that they're borrowing in terms of funding, we also need to look at, projects that they're taking on, projects that are going to restore the planet, as it were, restore the ozone layer, reduce the impact of CO2 emission, reduce the impact of climate change generally. I mean, they're looking at the part of the project is afforestation in some parts of the country, which would add to efforts to part of restore the planet, as it were. They're going to be building dams, building, some clean energy projects, part of things that they're looking to do. So I'd say it's sustainable financing, and it's looking at projects that would impact positively on the planet.
Okay, speaking of planet, will this attract real money? This bond is targeting both institutional, retail investors, but it's got a high ticket size, and competitive yield. Who's most likely do you see participating in this green bond?
I think everybody's going to jump on it, as we often say. The institutionals are going to jump on it. The retail investors are going to jump on it. It's 50 million in size. I think the minimum entry point is about 10 million, and then multiples of 1 million. So you could say it's for HNIs and then institutional investors. And I think the size is kind of small. If you look at what the NGX loses in a day, it's way more than this 50 billion. So that money that they took from the NGX, they could possibly just, plug it into this green finance and it will be done. The size is decent. The size to me is small, but I mean, it's just a project that they're targeting, and it will be well oversubscribed. I expect it to be well oversubscribed. It closes tomorrow. It was open for just 2 days, yesterday, today, and then it closes tomorrow. And I'm sure it will perform very well to be oversubscribed.
I think you were there. Did you see? Was there anything that showed investor confidence in this bond series? We have the Sukuk, we have other savings bonds from the government. Was there any show of confidence from investors that
Yes, yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. The room was, if I would say, they said there were people with deep pockets in the room. You had pension fund administrators, you had insurance companies, you had banks in the room, and then you had other asset managers in the room as well. So it was a room packed with a lot of capital and a lot of dry gunpowder waiting to be deployed. So yes, investors are ready and waiting for this.
So what are we looking now? Okay, fine. It's a fantastic project we're looking at here. Fantastic, tied to renewables, tied to the environment. But How's the debt? What's the government mention how they're going to manage this debt? Because we've got mounting debt. Yeah, it's going astronomically right now. So as the government, are they planning on repaying back our debts and the interest rates? What were the sound bites you heard regarding that yesterday?
I mean, so debt-wise, we all know where debt financing is in Nigeria. I know what your concerns are. Your concerns are that, we continue to borrow and we continue to borrow. So long as we run a deficit budget and we're not looking to cut other fiscal measures, I think, or other fiscal expenditure, I think, we'll continue to have this need to borrow. However, all prices are rising. If you watch our reserves as well, they're consistently rising, albeit not a lot, but they're consistently rising. So I think the future of Nigeria is positive. If the government in the future can reduce some of the fiscal expenditure, especially the recurrent ones, the cost of governance, for example, we could have a different story to this.
Caleb, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so basically, the government has a debt that's mounting, and we hope that they are able to repay the debt, and that this project, the monies that are taken or that are raised from these green bonds, are actually used for what is purposed, and so people can actually see that this project is tied, this bond is tied to this project, and not some, well, we know all the elephant projects
Yeah,
we've got in Nigeria. We just hope that we have this tied to project. And then to make really more sense, when we see these bonds being raised, when we see these monies being raised, and nobody would query that, oh, we're getting more, into more debt, because they know the money is being used for projects that are, like you say, for our
yes.
future. So if
I'm
the
actually
okay, go ahead.
I'm actually very confident. Sorry, I'm actually very confident in the utilization of this. I'll take a case in point like the Sukuk bond. Even across Lagos, you'd find, Sukuk Road starts from here, Sukuk Road ends here. These are targeted financings, targeted, financing, project finance, as you could call it. They're targeted for specific projects. So, for example, since we can see the Sukuk implementation of the Sukuk bond, the utilization of those funds, I think this one is also going to be just like that. We're going to see exactly, the dams that they're building. We're going to see the upgrading of the water supply projects that they say they're building. We're going to see the clean energy investment that they say they want to make. It's going to be very, very easy. And, to see, it's being executed through the Federal Ministry of Environment and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. So definitely, these are projects that will be able to tie down and then say, you were given X amount of money, what did you use for it? And I'm sure this is the type of project that a lot of eyes are usually on. So I'm sure they're going to deploy. The confidence I have in this is because of what they've done with the Sukuk financing,
Okay, are there
targeted
platforms?
projects.
Are there platforms where investors can actually monitor and see what their investments are being used for? And is there any platform that has been planned out for this?
Well, no, not to the best of my knowledge currently. I think as concerned Nigerians, we could just, get the Federal Ministry of Environment reports and read what exactly they've done and then go to those locations where they say they've done what they've done.
So we have the NCB auction coming up tomorrow. Expectations for that. We have 162 billion on offer. What do you see for tomorrow? What are your expectations, Caleb?
Well, what we've seen, like we've seen consistently over the last three auctions, is that the federal government is borrowing. However, their appetite to borrow shows that they don't want to borrow expensively. We've seen the 1 year paper drop consistently from 19.63 to 19.56 to 19.35. So, and the offer on this one is very small. It's 100 billion on the 1 year paper, 162 billion in total. The last auction saw an auction of 450 billion, and it was also well oversubscribed. So we expect to see a lot of oversubscription here, and we expect to see interest rates actually drop. We're predicting that it closes somewhere around between 18.5 to 18.8 or thereabouts on the discount rate because of the size on offer and the fact that the market is very liquid. Also, people that are taking their monies out of the equity markets will probably flow down into the fixed income space. So we see that investors will flood this market in order to protect themselves from possible future losses, and because of that, interest rates will drop or
Thank you
should
so
drop.
much. Thank you so much, Caleb Alimi, Chief Dealer, Providence Bank, for sharing your perspective on the program.